I'm Rachel Cunningham, and you're listening to Joyful Love, episode 56. If you're ready to bring joy and connection back to your marriage, stick around. Each week, I give you the tools to up-level your thinking, open your heart, and bring joy and fun back to your relationship. Because it's not enough just to stay married. We want to love being married. Hello, friends. So, my husband and I, Chris, just returned from a beautiful trip to Mexico City, Mexico. And I have not traveled very much in my lifetime. So, because I've been raising kids most of my life, right? And I'm really enjoying my travels this year. And this was by far the best trip of the year. And I definitely want to return. But my goal before I return next time is to improve my Spanish before I do. Language is important. I'm still getting used to the English language, honestly, but that's okay. I also want to welcome in a new language, the language of Spanish. And, to be honest, I did not know enough of it on this trip. So it was still a blast though, but I've definitely got my goals to make it even more fun next time by really knowing the language well. So another thing that is amazing is that last week while we were in Mexico, I hit the year mark of being completely alcohol-free. And I'm pausing here to celebrate the heck out of that. The being free from alcohol is only part of that celebration, because the true success, the true amazingness of being alcohol-free is that when I feel stressed or overwhelmed or worried or anxious, I'm not reaching for that glass of wine to temporarily numb those feelings anymore, right? I'm not afraid to feel the emotions of life anymore. And I know how to process them fully. And that is what I'm celebrating. That's what I'm truly celebrating of being a year free of alcohol. And I'm celebrating the fact that if my family needs me, I no longer have nights where I'm checked out and not able to be present with them because of the effects that alcohol had on me. It was making me extremely tired. It was making me grumpy, right? All those things that made it difficult to really be present with my kids in the evening and my family in the evening. And also, just the fact that I don't wake up with headaches anymore. And I don't wake up with anxiety at 2 a.m. usually. Occasionally I do. But that 2 a.m. wake up call that my body would give me that had so much anxiety. And I would even wake up with sweats, right? After a glass or two of wine, I would wake up with sweats and headaches and anxiety at 2 a.m. And, my body was telling me for the past 4 years that, Rachel, you need to be done with alcohol. And this year, I finally listened to it. And one of the things that really helped me through that is that I share that anniversary date with my brother Chris. Yes, my husband's name is Chris, and I have a brother named Chris as well. But my brother Chris had a massive transformation as well. And so we share that date together. And it's a beautiful story that someday I will dive into, but not today. Today, we're going to focus on something else. But yeah, I am celebrating that for an entire year, we've said no to alcohol and we've listened to our body. And, listening to your body frees you. It really does. Just like I talked about in last week's episode of how to listen to your body, asking your body, what do you need from me? And when you're able to do that, it frees you. It frees you to be completely and totally you, right? And that feels amazing. I love celebrating life. I love celebrating all the little bitty wins. I love celebrating the big wins. And I love celebrating my clients and myself, right? And making it a year without alcohol just feels incredible. So I wanted to share that excitement with all of you as well. And to all of my clients who are making similar strides, I have a lot of clients who are making similar strides to to cut back on alcohol or, other things that their body is speaking to them about. I am celebrating you today as well. Keep going. Keep feeling what you need to. You are doing it. Even if there are bumps in the road along the way, it's part of the journey. Keep going. You're going to have your year mark as well. And on that note, last week we talked about increasing your energy and being willing to listen to the messages that your body is telling you. If you ask your body good questions and pause to really listen, it'll give you great answers. I promise you. But let's say that you do this. Let's say that you pause and you say, hey, body, what do you need? I'm going to listen to you. And your body tells you, stop eating as many processed foods, right? Stop eating sugar. Stop eating flour. What if it tells you to stop drinking that 2 glasses of wine every night, right? What happens next? Well, if you're like most people, you're going to make a plan and you're going to work hard to stick to it. And then after a day or two, if you make it that long, I usually never did. After a day or two, or maybe even a week or two, you are going to have feelings about your new commitment. You're going to have feelings about life. And all the emotions that you're used to numbing with food and alcohol are still going to be there. But they're going to be heightened because you're not numbing them with that food, right? And if you're like most people, you're going to want to numb them again the way your brain is used to numbing them with food or alcohol or whatever your vice is, right? So when I went through my health coach certification 7 years ago, they taught us all about what to eat, how to nurture your body, how to give your body what it needed. But they did not tell us what to do with the emotions that will come up when you stop numbing them with food and alcohol. So today I'm going to teach you what I did not learn in health coaching school, but what I did thankfully learn when I became a life coach. What you're going to learn today is how to stop buffering your life with food and alcohol. So first, let's look at my definition of buffering, okay? So that we're on the same page. Buffering is when we use external things to change how we feel emotionally or to numb how we feel. It's when we avoid the experience of negative emotions by welcoming in external things, right? Or doing external things, which means that we're not willing, when we buffer, we're not willing to experience our actual lives. We're avoiding being present with what is. And we all do this at times. Nothing is innately wrong with you if you're like, yep, that's what I do. I do it all the time, right? Nothing is wrong with you. We all do it. After all, we've been taught this way of managing our emotions since we were really little, right? I remember being offered like a cookie or ice cream or candy or a lollipop, anything sweet to help me stop crying or to stop feeling sad, right? I learned this worked when I was probably younger than 5. And in addition, I was taught that something is wrong if you're feeling bad, right? I remember being told when I was like 13, smile more. Why don't you smile more, right? I was told that all the time. And I was like, I'm 13. I'm feeling sad. I'm not going to fake a smile for you, right? I remember having all those thoughts. But regardless, like we are taught if something is wrong or if something feels negative emotionally, then something must be wrong with you, right? So we try to buffer these things over and over. We try to hide them. We try to cover them over. So I learned at a very early age, sugar helps to numb, right? And then when I was in my 30s, I realized that wine had less of an effect on my waistline than sugar did, and then processed foods did. So I would eat really healthy, most of the time, and then my vice became wine. My vice to, even though I was eating healthier and learning better ways to nurture my body, my vice became alcohol so that I could still numb those emotions without the extra weight gain, right? So, it's not just culture or family that encourages this kind of buffering our emotions. Our primitive brain encourages it too. Your brain is constantly seeking three things. It's seeking pleasure, it's seeking ease in life, and it's looking to avoid pain. So the chemical dopamine that floods our brain with happy feelings helps this. And when your brain has a dopamine hit, it feels a quick boost of pleasure. It's like, oh, everything's okay. It's easy, right? There's that pleasure. There's that comfort I'm feeling. But here's the deal. The overeating, the overdrinking, the over social mediaing, or I just made that word up, over social mediaing, the over shopping, whatever your personal buffer of choice is, these things are not what your higher self actually wants. Because your higher self knows, hey, these are not helping you, right? And yet, your animal brain keeps overriding it. It keeps saying, oh, but it helps for a minute. It keeps us safe for a minute. So as long as your brain thinks it helps for a minute, it keeps winning, doesn't it? Because that little boost of dopamine says, oh, things are fine for a minute. So how do we deal with this? How do we deal with decades of our brain wanting to numb our emotions with things that are not good for us in the long run? Well, we have to know what to do with our feelings, don't we? And we need to know how to use our feelings for us instead of against us. So the first thing I want you to know is that it's okay to have negative emotions. There is always going to be good and bad in this world. And I don't know about you, but I personally don't want to feel happy and glad about all of it. There will always be struggle right alongside the ease. And the different circumstances in your life will influence the thoughts that you have, right? The good circumstances, the easy circumstances, the negative circumstances, they're going to influence the thoughts that you have. And those thoughts will create emotions within you. So half of your emotions are going to be negative. Nothing's gone wrong when you feel a negative emotion. You don't have to run from it, right? It's simply a message in your body from a thought that's in your brain. And one of the ways that we approach negative emotions is to avoid them, right? Unfortunately, that's the way we avoid them, is by buffering. So let's look at some examples of this. When your kids, let's just say your kids are having a hard day and you feel stressed and you want to numb that, so you go reach for the wine. You're like, oh, I feel stressed. I've had a hard day. I deserve a glass of wine to relax, right? Or when your husband and you have just had an intense argument and you feel that disconnection, that pull away from each other, that feels just really awful, right? You feel lonely, you feel disconnected, you don't even feel liked probably in the moment. So you reach for the chips to numb your loneliness and to numb the heavy feelings that you're having during that time. After work, let's say you came home, you worked all day, you came home, you're doing the whole bedtime routine, you're putting the kids to bed, and after everybody is in bed and you've worked from morning to night, your brain is craving some pleasure, some fun, but you feel really bored at home, right? You feel like, oh, I'm bored. I don't know what to do, but I deserve some fun. So you go reach for the ice cream. Another area that you might be avoiding negative emotions is with your schedule, with your calendar, right? Let's say the next thing on your calendar is to get started on a work project or clean the bathrooms or whatever it is, right? But you feel confused by it, right? You're like, oh, I don't want to do that. I want to avoid doing it. I feel annoyed by that project, right? So what do? You say, oh, you know what? I'm going to avoid doing that right now. I'm going to go get another cup of coffee first. Or maybe I'm hungry. Maybe I should go get a snack first. So once again, you're avoiding the discomfort of doing something, of honoring your commitments to yourself. You're avoiding those negative emotions by reaching for something that might not be good for you. So if this sounds like you, again, you're not alone. We all do this at different points in our lives. So it's no wonder that when you set goals for yourself to eat healthier or to lose weight or to work out or to eat for energy, it's no wonder that it's so hard to honor your wiser self's commitments. So what's the answer? What is the answer? Some of you can probably guess it by now. I've hinted at it. Here's the answer. Here's the magic answer to all of this. The answer is to stop being afraid of your feelings. When you have a negative emotion, actually embrace it. Move towards it instead of away from it. That's the secret. The secret is to say, oh, there's frustration. Let me look at that. Let me lean into it. So you can embrace your emotions. You can embrace the positive ones. I love noticing my positive emotions too. Oh, there's happiness. What's creating that? And, oh, there's sadness. What's creating that? You can decide on purpose to say, you know what? I am here for the full human experience. I'm here to feel it all. Because here's the truth. Buffering away your emotions is not fixing anything. Those feelings of sadness and loneliness and boredom, frustration, stress, confusion, and everything in between will come back again as soon as the buffer is over with. After that cookie, you're still going to feel bored. After the wine, you're still going to feel lonely. Might be the next day if the wine lulled you to sleep, but you're still going to feel those emotions the next day, the next night. And with the added stress of the negative effects on your body, now you're lonely and you don't have energy. Now you're lonely and you feel sick. Now you're bored and you have brain fog from too much sugar. So buffering with things that give your body a net negative are usually going to make things harder on you in the long run. So the question is, can you sit with your feelings? Can you pause and feel the emotion in your body and pay attention to it? Let it be there. Don't be afraid of it. Don't try to push it away. Can you breathe into the feeling and move towards it? Notice it. Name it. We're not used to naming our emotions, are we? There's a beautiful, if you look up feelingscircle.com, I believe it is, or just Google the feeling circle, it'll give you a whole range of emotions that you can kind of look at and say, oh, is this what I'm feeling? Right? And kind of notice the difference of each feeling. But that's part of it, like naming it, noticing it, being aware of it. And then asking yourself, okay, there you are, I feel you. Why are you there? Frustration. What thought is driving this feeling? And when you find the thought that's creating the feeling, now you get to question that thought. Is this thought true? Where did that thought come from? Is it a thought that you want to keep? Or is it a thought that will serve you? It might be. You get to choose, right? That's the beauty of this, right? You are free to feel what you feel and to choose the thoughts in life that will serve you. And when you decide on purpose to stop buffering with food and alcohol, it's a beautiful opportunity to really get acquainted with your thoughts and feelings. And when you do, when you get acquainted with those thoughts and feelings, when you choose them on purpose, you are going to learn so much about you, about what drives you in life, and about what holds you back in life, about the things that you're ignoring about yourself, about the things that you're avoiding about yourself. One of the areas that I was most afraid of when I stopped drinking was, ironically, my time with Chris, my date nights with him. I'd been so used to wine and the occasional whiskey. I really like whiskey, you guys. But I've been so used to those things helping me to relax and to let go of worry and stress for about 10 years now. So wine served a purpose for me for a while. It actually helped me to laugh when I was with Chris during our most stressful parenting years. It helped me to chill out and to stop worrying about my kids so I could enjoy my husband, right? So this seemed like a benefit to my life. And I actually choose now to say, you know what? That served a purpose. Thank you for serving a purpose, and to not judge myself for that. But I had to listen when my body told me that I did not need it anymore. And I had a really hard time listening to that at first because I was afraid that Chris and I would no longer be able to relax and have fun together. So when I stopped drinking, let me be honest here, I did notice that our dates were a little less fun. They were a little less relaxing. So I had to choose on purpose to sit with that discomfort and to welcome the discomfort of learning how to relax and be present again without the wine. And it took a few months. It was not easy. Sometimes I felt frustrated and just wanted to give in to a drink so that I could easily laugh and lighten up. But the more I paid attention, the more I practiced being totally present with Chris, the more I practiced listening and trusting that I was allowed to let worry go, the more my brain got on board with what my body and soul were telling me. And the more I reminded myself that I was worthy of the utmost care, and that care included only putting things in my body that serve it. And the more I did that, the more I practiced this belief, the easier letting go of wine became. And now I find it incredibly easy to spend time with Chris without alcohol. I don't even think about it usually, right? Occasionally I will. But for the most part, we go out to dinner and I don't even question it. Even if he wants to get some wine or get himself a drink, I am not bothered by it because I know my decision and I'm solid in it. And I know how to find joy in being present with him. I don't need alcohol to relax. I've trained my brain to do so anytime I want to. So, and this would not be the case if I had not been willing to feel those negative emotions that came with the change. And paying attention to those negative emotions, honoring them, viewing them as important to my growth and allowing them to be there helped me to learn what thoughts and stories were still holding me back in life. It allowed me to discover new things about myself and even new ways of listening and communicating better with my husband. So here's what we're not taught in life: that our negative emotions are there for us. They are here to guide us. They are here to show us something new about ourselves. They're here to show us the thoughts and stories that we're still believing that could be holding us back in life. Our emotions, negative and positives, can be our teachers if we let them be, if we don't buffer them away with all the devices that we have available to us to buffer them with, right? So decide on purpose this week what your body needs. Just simply ask it, body, what do you need? What do you need from me this week? And trust it. And then do the work of feeling every single emotion that comes up along the way to creating that lifestyle that honors the one body that you have. Did you hear that? You have one body. It's worth caring for. It's precious. It's magnificent. It's beautiful. And it's worth doing the work of feeling your feelings so that you can care for it. And in the process of this, watch yourself grow in every other area too. Because you've heard me say it before, it is all connected. The way you feel your way to a healthier body is the same way you'll feel your way to a healthier relationship and a life that feels really good to your soul. So if you want help in these areas, and if you resonate with what I'm saying here, I am the coach for you, and I would love to work with you. So head over to rachelcunningham.com/work-with-me and book a free consultation to learn more. And on that call, we will create a vision for your life and your marriage, and we'll make a plan to go and get it. And then in our coaching sessions, we're going to learn how to really feel everything you need to feel along the way so that you can honor that plan. I've got a few spots open this summer, so if you want one, come and get it. Thanks for listening to Joyful Love. If you'd like to know more about my work, come visit me at rachelcunningham.com. That's Rachel, spelled with an A-E-L, Cunningham.com.